Are we really going to be this crazy right now that we're just going to give a stranger our credit card? And I'm like, fuck it. Of course we are. Like, obviously I'm going to do it. It's me. Some people might think to themselves, oh my gosh, like $6,000 for one day. Like, what could you possibly be doing in that one day? I literally was looking at my feet. The walls were swaying back and forth. Being securely attached in your relationships, with money, with business is the biggest success hack. Oh my gosh, like this is one of my superpowers in business. It actually feels illegal to have the amount of information that I have now about my unborn children, but I will share it with you guys. This is what she told me. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the podcast. I cannot believe that it is November already. Are you joking me? Where did this year go? It just feels absolutely insane to me. But Q4 has really kicked off with a bang. But I also kind of feel like we're just getting started. Like there's so much more magic left to unfold before the end of this year. So I'm definitely one of those people that likes to optimize the end of the year, that really likes to just like go through the finish line with my best energy. I don't know. I know there's some people that get to this point in the year and they're like dragging, their energy is low. They're like, oh my gosh, all I want to do is rest. I just want to like take my foot off the gas. I want to lean back. But there's something about the end of the year that just gets me so hyped up. I don't know. And also thinking about like the new year, and I don't know, I'm like already getting all of that like excited energy coming through. So I kind of want to share some of that with you guys. And I have been pretty busy lately, and maybe it's all these things that I've been doing that have been making me feel so on fire, making me feel inspired, making me feel alive. So if your energy is kind of been a little bit like muted or down, maybe this episode will help get you feeling, I don't know, like amped up again. But I'm really excited. I'm feeling super motivated for the end of this year and also, you know, a fresh start as we go into the new year. I just love this time of year. And also the holidays, my birthday is coming up. We have some travel. Like there's just a lot of good things, but I have to catch you up on everything that's been going on because we haven't sat down properly, just the two of us, to really do like a deep chat and just an unpacking of what's been going on behind the scenes. So that is what this episode is for. I have to catch you up on everything. I have to talk to you about the VIP day that I hosted here in Miami, the Eras tour, this wealth event that I went to last weekend, my new spontaneous tattoo that I got, the crazy detailed tarot reading that I had. I've got so much information about my future children. It feels illegal to know this much about my future. So that's kind of wild. So we can unpack that together. And then just more like exciting things that are coming up on the horizon. So I want to talk about it all with you guys. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's start with the VIP day that I hosted in Miami with one of my clients. This is someone who was in Abundant and Ambitious Mastermind, and then she moved into the alumni circle and has been working with me for, I think she joined ANA last year on Black Friday, but that round didn't start until March. And so probably like around 9 months, she's been in my world, and she decided to do a VIP day with me in person. And we went to the Eras tour on top of it. So that was like the most fun VIP day I've ever hosted in my life because we got to go to the most iconic concert afterwards as part of it. So it was like extra special, but the day in and of itself was also pretty epic. Like we spent the day at a beach resort and hotel, and I booked us a private cabana so that we could do our work kind of like by the pool. We had amazing views. There's palm trees everywhere. It's right on the water. So we also were able to go and walk on the beach, take some photos. Like the weather was perfect. It was literally the best day. You couldn't have asked for a better weather day, which I was so grateful for because the couple of days before that, it had been so gray and just really strong winds and kind of like chilly for Florida, to be honest. So I was a little bit worried about our weather for the VIP day and the concert, but it turned out to be the most beautiful day, like truly perfection. The weather was amazing throughout the day. It did rain later on in the concert, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So we had this private cabana by the pool so that we could do our work, but we also had this like little indoor area with a TV and a couch and a lounge so that we could be like shaded if we were too hot from the sun. But it was just like really nice scenery. And there's nothing quite like living up to that unrealistic expectation of working from your laptop on the beach or by the pool. Like I joke about this all the time about how it's so fake that anyone is working from their laptop on the sand or even by the pool because it's so fucking hot. You can barely see the screen. You're like sweating. It's like not even enjoyable. But we did have umbrellas and it wasn't like a super sunny day. It was like, it was partly cloudy. So it was like some sun and then some clouds, some sun and then some clouds. So it actually was nice to like work from the laptop by the pool. But we also had that like indoor area of our cabana. So we like did one of our sessions inside. We were just chilling on the couch and we were nice and shaded. But yeah, yeah, nothing like living up to that ideal of being a business girly in her bikini, just working from the laptop. So that's really what we did. We had several deep work sessions. So we had breakfast and then we had a couple of sessions. Then we took a little break on the beach and then we had some more sessions. And then we ordered some food and ate it in our room. And then we got ready in the hotel room for the concert. But basically, what we did together in those deep work sessions was we got so much done, which is another thing I love about like these in-person workshops or VIP days is you really can hone in and just get so much done in a really short amount of time. We basically strategized for the next 12 months in my client's business. We worked on messaging for her offers, visioning for her products. We built out a brand new application for her one-on-one service. We mapped out a bunch of different podcast episodes that she can do with titles and, what she's going to talk about in them so that she can really drive sales through the art of storytelling. We also made a plan for how she's going to hit 6 figures. So it was a really big and productive day. And the total investment for this day was a little over $6,000. And what I think is interesting about this is, I put this in my stories that day because we were kind of talking about it, but it's like, some people might think to themselves, oh my gosh, like $6,000 for one day. Like what could you possibly be doing in that one day that would be worth $6,000? And listen, I get it because I used to think this way as well. I remember when I wanted to do a yoga teacher training so badly, and I found out that these yoga teacher trainings were like $3,000 to $4,000. And I literally thought to myself, like, do people have that much money in their bank account that they can just spend? Like the idea of spending $3,000 to $4,000 on a 21 day long like yoga teacher training, like in person. First of all, those people should be raising those prices 100% because that is so much work. Oh my God. But the thought of that, I was just like, that's absolutely insane. Like who has this kind of money? Like it is wild how much your perception and your view and your relationship with money changes as you kind of do that deep inner work around it. You change your mindset around it. And then obviously, if you're putting in the work to build something where you can have more financial freedom, then it's going to change your relationship with money even more so. So adding those two things together, I just completely empathize and witness that I'm in a totally different state when it comes to talking about money and prices than I was before. And even like Jaime, like my partner, we just had a conversation the other night about something that I want to do, this event that I want to go to. Tickets are $5,000. And he was like, only $5,000? This man, when I tell you that this man was so cheap when we were younger, like he loves a discount. Okay. He loves a thrift. It was, he was the type of person that would be like, oh my gosh, no, I can get that for cheaper somewhere else. Or just even things like, oh my gosh, $50 for a t-shirt, not worth it. Even if it's like a great quality brand or something like that. So his mindset has changed wildly when it comes to money just by, osmosis of being in a relationship with me and seeing everything that happens for me as I change mindset. And obviously that bleeds over to him because we have lots of conversations about these things. And yeah, like the business side of stuff and just seeing what's possible for, what I've built and what my clients are building. He hears a lot of those conversations. And so by proximity, he has naturally grown his own money mindset and his perception of what is a lot of money, what's not a lot of money, and what things are worth. And so the other night we were having a conversation and I was like, so the tickets are $5,000. And he's like, only $5,000? I thought you were going to say like $100,000 because this is a really cool event that I really want to go to. And he's like, do it immediately. He was like, do it. And so I can appreciate, coming from a place where we really thought, like I've told you guys before on the podcast, the first investment that I ever made in my business or in myself, had nothing to do with business. I just wanted to improve my relationship with food and my body. And I was going to do this 30-day challenge. And the 30-day challenge was $50. I thought about that investment for 3 days. So to really be able to see the whole spectrum and to go from one side to the other, like it's not lost on me, right? And so this investment that my client made of a little over $6,000 for this VIP day, I can totally appreciate and understand how a lot of people would think like, oh my God, like how are you going to pay $6,000 for just one day? What could you possibly be doing to make that worth it? It's really the kind of investment that is not going to make sense to most people. And that's on purpose because it's only going to make sense for the people who know that they never want to be most people. And that is the idea behind certain investments and experiences like this, because my client got so much out of our day together and she is now more than equipped to scale her business following our plan. She has so much information in place ready to go for the next year of her business. And that's not to say that she won't need or desire further mentorship, but it's like you have a legitimate plan in place and it's just about following it. Like that's invaluable to have that personalized to you and to know what you're doing and to feel like you have have that roadmap. Plus, there is always transformation in the transaction, right? So investing in yourself is in such a way like this, where it's really kind of like stretchy, it's expansive, it feels sort of exclusive because it's not something that everybody's doing. It's not something that everybody and, regular people around you in your life would see the value in, or would even be like, yeah, that's a good idea. Like most people might be like, that's kind of fucking crazy, right? So investing in yourself in such a way automatically helps you grow deeper roots of self-trust, because there's an identity shift that takes place where you start to become the type of woman who deserves that level of support, proximity, and luxury. And once you adopt that identity and you kind of change the way that you see yourself, and you put yourself in those rooms or those places where you're like, yeah, this is the level that I'm at now. These are the kind of experiences that I give myself. This is the level of support and proximity and luxury that I desire and I deserve. And look at me, I'm doing it. And oh my gosh, when you do that, you start to shift your internal state, your internal world, your self-concept, the way you see yourself. And because of that, it's only a matter of time before the rest of your reality naturally becomes a reflection of that, because our thoughts and our identity are what create our experiences in this world. And so there is an even further, as we like to call it around here, invisible ROI of doing things like that may seem ridiculous to other people. And of course, you're going to get something tangible from the day, but it's more than the day, right? The transformation of an investment like that goes far beyond the 12 to 24 hours that we spent together. It goes way beyond that, because there's an identity upgrade that happens. And then from that moment forward, you now see yourself in a little bit of a different light. You've elevated who you believe yourself to be. And so you start to take different actions, and you believe in yourself deeper, and you trust yourself more, and you take bolder action. And so naturally, you're going to start getting better results and putting yourselves in even more rooms. And it just kind of dominoes from there. So anyway, that was a little bit of a side quest. But after we had our, deep dive VIP day, we went up to our hotel room that we were staying at the resort. And like I said, we ordered some food, we got ready. We obviously played our Taylor Swift playlist. We put our little 13 tattoos on our hands. We got our friendship bracelets ready. We were doing our hair, our makeup, all the things, just having fun, doing girly things, getting ready for the concert. And then Jaime actually came and picked us up from the resort and drove us to the stadium. What a king. I was not wanting to get into an Uber. I just wanted to be in a car with a driver that we trusted. So he took us there, and then he also picked us up at the end, which was so nice of him, honestly, because the traffic was insane, as you can imagine, especially on the way home. The way there wasn't that bad because we went pretty early. And so as soon as we got in, no problem, no issues with our tickets, which was such a blessing, because one of my other clients was actually also in town, and she was going to the Eras tour. And when they tried to get in, they found out that their tickets were fraudulent. And so the reseller that they purchased them from was like, we're so sorry, these tickets aren't real. And so then they were on the phone for hours and hours and hours to see if they could either get their money back, or better yet, have them find a set of tickets that would allow them to still go in and see the concert. And they ended up actually getting much better tickets. They were on the floor. They were so close to the stage, and it was like the best thing ever. So it all ended up working out for them. But anyways, my client and I went into the stadium. We got some really cute pictures, and then we almost immediately got in line for the merch, because we were like, right, if we get in super early, it'll be fine. We're in the merch line, we get some food, we're standing there, we're eating, we're chatting, all the things. We've been in the merch line for an hour, and then we're getting closer now, and then it starts to rain. And it's not a regular rain, it is a Florida rain. And if you don't know what a Florida rain is, just think monsoon. It happens hard and fast. It just comes out of nowhere. The raindrops are the size of my head, and it's a level of being soaked that is just unrecoverable. There's no recovering from it. It is so wet. So we're on this rooftop area in this merch line that we've been waiting in for over an hour, and it starts raining so hard. Everyone starts screaming, running, scattering. There's a bathroom off to the side, so everyone runs into the bathroom for shelter. We are soaking wet. Next level. I mean, the hair is completely ruined. We look like wet dogs. My dress that I was wearing, it was this meshy kind of see-through dress that had little pearls and rhinestones all over it. So it wasn't even a fabric that I could really wipe off, but it was drenched in water. My bag that I was carrying, I had to squeeze the strap of it, because the underside, it was this cute beaded crossbody strap that said it was handmade. It said the Eras tour on it in all these beads, but the bottom side of it was velvet. velvet and that all got soaked with water. So I was squeezing the handle of my bag, wringing it out. Water's just pouring out everywhere. It was a disaster. I mean, we looked like wet dogs. It was pretty bad. We're like, how are we going to recover from this? We dry ourselves off. We're in the bathroom for quite a while. All these paper towels, like just trying to get ourselves like acceptable. And so we're like, okay, the rain is kind of stopped. Let's go back out. We get back in line and we're in line for maybe another 10 minutes and then another rainstorm comes through. And at this point we're just like, okay, fuck it. Like this is just, it is what it is. This is what it's going to be. We've just accepted our fate. And to be honest, I kind of wish that we didn't spend so much time waiting in that merch line, because you can buy merchandise on like the Taylor Swift store online, but we just felt like there were certain things that you can't get online. And isn't it cool to have like the memorabilia and like the memory of like buying it at the concert? And it was that, what is it called? The sunk cost fallacy of like, we've already waited this long. Like, are we really going to back out now? So we stayed in the merch line for like another hour. Like it was so long, you guys. It's crazy. We finally get into like the indoor part where you're about to get up to the merch table and order. And the countdown is now getting pretty tight to when Taylor's going on stage. We've already missed the opening act. Taylor is going to go on stage in about 20 minutes. And we're like, I don't know if we're going to make it. And we have no idea where we are now. We've just been following this line all through the stadium. Like it could be a significant walk at this point to get to our seats. Like, what do we do? So we're talking to these girls in the line next to us. They've been next to us for a really long time in line. And they find out that we've never been to the Eras Tour before. We're like, yeah, we're not those people that have been 3 times. Sorry. Would love to be one of those people, but we're not. This is our first time ever. I'm like, this is my first time ever seeing Taylor Swift in concert. And they found out how much we paid for our tickets. And they were like, oh my God, you guys, you cannot miss the opening. You have to see the opening. It's like, you're going to get goosebumps and chills. Like you have to be there. And so this girl and her friend, they're much younger than us. And the one girl was like, I don't even really like Taylor Swift. I'm just here because my friend invited me. And we're like, okay. So they're like, we can get the merch for you. And I'm like, is this a good idea? And my client Madison is like, yeah, like let's just give them our credit card and they can buy it for us. I'm like, are we really going to be this crazy right now that we're just going to give a stranger our credit card? And I'm like, fuck it. Of course we are. Like, obviously I'm going to do it. It's me. So we exchange phone numbers. We give them our order of kind of like what we want. We want like this many t-shirts, this many hoodies, kind of roughly around like these sizes, whatever colors are available, whatever. And then we're like, okay, we'll come find you guys in your section so that you don't have to miss any of the concert. And we'll just come grab the merch and the card from you at a certain point during like a song that we don't mind missing that much. So where's your section? And they're like, oh, we're in section 223, but we're in a suite. And we're like, you're joking. We're literally in section 222. By the way, that was our ticket, was section 222. And our seats were 21 and 22. So many twos. So, I did that on purpose. So I'm like, cosmic, how is it possible that of this entire stadium and all of the however many 61,000 people that are here, the 2 people that we're standing next to in line are willing to buy our merch for us and are also in the section right next to us. So I give them my business card, which is actually probably one of the dumber things that I've done in my entire life. But I just figure if anything weird were to happen, you just basically cancel the card and report the charges, and it's not that big of a deal. So I give my business card, my business like credit card, to these random strangers, these 2 young girls. And we're like, okay, thanks, like buy our merch for us. So they called us when they were up at the front of the table and the concert was like about to start. I'm like, okay, we're at the table, like we're gonna get your merch, but like there's no sizes left. And we're like, fuck it, whatever, just get whatever, just get anything. And so we ended up with like tons of like larges and extra larges of things, and it was kind of silly in the end. But they bought us our merch and we could see them in their suite from our seats. So as soon as they got into their suite, we saw them, clocked it, went over, grabbed our merch, exchanged the card, like everything was all good. I mean, people at the Eras Tour are so freaking nice. Like everyone, absolutely everyone was so kind. From the people that were working the event, and so many people that were working the event, they were like, this is our favorite event to work because the fans have been the kindest, the nicest, the most generous. They listen. Like the one guy was telling us when he was trying to help us find Jaime, because he was coming to pick us up and they don't let cars into the area of the stadium. So you have to like walk pretty far. He was like walking us all the way to this spot and he was like, yeah, this is like the best concert, you know, the best people. And it's so true. Like everyone was just so nice. Everyone was offering to take photos of you. They were taking videos of you, like getting the angles. Everyone was like, I love your outfit. So many compliments, like exchanging the friendship bracelets. People were holding your place in line for you if you had to like jump out and go to the bathroom or grab something to drink. The girls that were sitting next to us at one point, they were like, oh, we're going up to the concession stand to get drinks. Do you guys want anything? We'll get you waters. We don't know these people. And they wanted to buy us waters. Like everyone was just so fucking nice. Truly, it is. I know people think that it's kind of like this cult like experience of being a Swiftie, but it really was like such a good experience of everyone being so kind, so nice, so sweet, so supportive, so accepting. Like the energy there is just so pure. And we didn't see like any drunk people. I think we saw a total of 2 drunk individuals. Just everyone is there having a great time and being responsible and being fucking normal and nice. So that was highly refreshing. And you know, I think if we can learn anything from Taylor, it's probably something that has to do with personal brand, because she has built probably the most iconic cult-like following, if you want to call it that we've ever seen in our lifetime so far. You know, I did an episode on the podcast that you can search for. It's called Business Lessons from Taylor Swift, Miley Cyrus, and Kendall Jenner, where I kind of unpack these pop culture figures, but really take a look at the behind the scenes of their marketing and the businesses of being these public figures, which is quite interesting. So if you like that kind of cross between pop culture and like marketing and business, go check out that episode. But I mean, the Eras Tour is the highest grossing, probably most viral tour in music history. So it just felt like such a moment in time to be there and to see it, and the performances and the production value and everything is just chef's kiss. I mean, it's just the best of the best. She's the best in the business. What am I going to say? There's nothing else I can say. So whether you like her music or not, I think, you know, there's more than enough room and space to respect what she's done and what she's built, and, you know, the marketing of it, the personal brand of it, and also just the culture with her fans and how much time and energy and love that she's poured into her fandom over the years, over 18 years of music. It's not something that happens on accident. It happens with her being very intentional in building a community and knowing things about her fans and following them on social media, seeing what they're posting. Like, she takes care of the people that love her, including the people that work for her, and, you know, giving $100,000 bonuses to her drivers that drive her tour buses and all these things. It's not on accident, and it's definitely very admirable. So we got rained on a little bit before the concert, but where our seats were, we were actually covered because it did start raining again later on in the concert. It poured rain during the whole Reputation set, which was very cosmic. Like, that is the set that you want it to rain for, because you can see Taylor just get way more theatrical with it. Like, the rain really like lights a fire under her, and she's whipping the hair even harder. She's fully embracing it, and the visuals from that were just insane. I mean, they've been all over social media. The visuals from night 3 in Miami, the pouring rain, just everything was, oh my God, it was like the best. It was, I can't even explain it. It was out of body experience, but it was iconic. That's probably the word that I've used too much, but that's the only word that I can think of to describe it. So it was raining on stage, and for anyone that was on the floor, like in that kind of pit area, but for us, we were covered. So that was nice. We got to stay dry. We had an amazing time. We sang at the top of our lungs. Like, the one time I had to go to the bathroom, I was like, I'm going to go to the bathroom during Shake It Off. Because if you know, like, that song is statistically Taylor's most popular song. And I think it's a song that people associate her with her a lot. It's like not one of her best songs. Like, I don't think any true Swiftie is like, oh my God, I love Shake It Off. So sue me. I went to the bathroom during Shake It Off. I sat on the toilet. You guys, the entire building was shaking. I literally was looking at my feet. The walls were swaying back and forth. And there were some other girls in the bathroom, and they were like, do you guys feel that? We're like, holy shit. There's actually been earthquakes from certain concerts during the Shake It Off song, because everyone kind of like bounces from side to side and is shaking it all around. But I just thought in that moment, that is fucking insane. What does it take to move a stadium, to sway an entire stadium that is built of like concrete? That was crazy. We were literally moving back and forth, which was insane. It was just wild. I was like, I can't believe this is actually happening. Like, I had heard about the earthquakes in other cities during that song, but to actually be sitting there and feeling the walls and the floor like moving underneath you was wild. So long story short, we had the absolute best time. We also got amazing surprise songs that I was so happy about. So that was incredible. And then Jaime picked us up. We made it back to our hotel. We were so tired. My feet were dead. I had huge blisters. We had to walk so far to meet him where he could pick us up. So that was a real journey trying to get home. But by the time we got back to the hotel, it was like almost 2 a.m, I think. And yeah, we just like debriefed, scrubbed our tattoos off, put our merch on and cuddle up in bed, and then like called it a night. And then the next morning, we kind of just had to like basically pack up and get out because Madison had her flight. And the whole next day, I had like the weirdest, I think it is like a dopamine crash after you have like an experience that really puts you on a high like that. You feel super bizarre the next day where you're like nostalgic and sad, but also happy. It was just like, I was surprised that I actually had kind of like a physiological reaction to like the come down of the concert, which was crazy, but I mean, I get it. And then the other weekend, I went to this Rising Wealth event. If you guys follow Jamie C on Instagram, she had an event hosted here in Miami. So I went and it was so much fun. The design, the aesthetics, and the attention to detail and just the overall quality at this event was just next level. I mean, I had to like put so much respect on that. It was beautiful. Every single thing, every single part of it, it was just beautiful. They thought about everything, all the details, the designs, just oh my gosh. I mean, it was just out of this world. It was incredible. So Jamie, we loved the event. It was absolutely incredible. On Friday night, I went to the VIP kind of cocktail party that they had happening before the actual like main event on Saturday. And I met my client Justina there, who was in Miami all the way from Poland. So it was fun to get to meet up with her and go to that event together. And then I randomly ran into Michaela J, who some of you guys probably know. She's been on the podcast. She's hosted different like workshops and sessions in some of my programs. We've been friends online since 2019. Like she's one of my very earliest kind of industry online besties. And so we've known each other in the online space for so long, but have never met in person. And I'm at this like cocktail party and I'm hanging out with my client and I go to grab a drink from the bar and I just turn around and I just see her like casually standing there. I had no idea that she was going to be there. And I was just like, oh my God, hi. So that was so fun that we got to finally meet and hang out. We got some spontaneous tattoos together because they had some flash tattoos happening at the cocktail party. So I think Michaela got a little like angel on her arm. I got the 777 tattoo on my arm. And then my client Justina also got a little like Aries constellation on her wrist. So we got little spontaneous tattoos together, which was fun. And I got to meet Jamie in person, who was hosting the event, which was really nice. And surprisingly, she told me that she loves the podcast. So shout out to Make Shift Happen. I mean, we're making waves. That was a very kind of cute full circle moment. And I wanted to tell you guys about the story of the 777, of why I got the 777 tattoo on my arm. But I realized that I've already told this story on the podcast. So what you can do is you can search for this episode that's called 4 Major Manifestation Codes, What I Learned Moving Back Home. It's from January 19th, 2022. The whole episode is kind of sharing the whole story of us moving from Spain back to the US and all of the parts of that process and the manifestation throughout it, and why 777 was such a significant angel number during that time. But that's essentially why I got the 777 tattooed on my arm. So if you want to know the full story, it's on the podcast. Search for that episode, 4 Major Manifestation Codes, What I Learned Moving Back Home. And you can listen to the whole like story of how that all unfolded, because that was a wild journey. That probably was like the biggest manifestation of my life, I have to say, is us moving back to the US, because there were so many obstacles at that time. It was still kind of like pandemic times, and there was a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of restrictions and requirements. And obviously my partner is not an American citizen, so it made coming into the borders more complicated. And yeah, it was just like really wild time. So anyway, if you want to hear that story, go listen to that episode. But so that was Friday night when we got our tattoos and kind of at the cocktail party. And then I slept over at my friend Arabella's house just because she lives a lot closer to where the event was in Miami. And so I slept over there, and then we got ready together the next morning, and we both decided that we wanted to wear like some statement boots, because here's the thing. Arabella also went with me to the event in Denver back in August that we went to. And that's when I wore that like sparkly jumpsuit that it was like strapless and it had all these cutouts on the front. And then the pattern was all of like the astrology signs and like mermaids and things. It was a very noticeable outfit. And this was our philosophy. When we go to events, I think especially if you're wanting to network, like you kind of want what you're wearing to say something about your personality or your brand before you even speak. And if you wear something that sparks a conversation or draws attention, you are probably more likely to make those connections or have the conversations that will lead you into other opportunities or other rooms or people that want to work with you or whatever the case might be. And we also kind of talked about this in our episode with Gala Darling. If you guys haven't listened to that episode, oh my gosh, Gala Darling was on the show. We talked about fashion, self-expression at one point in that episode, and she shared so much about how much value she's gotten from living out loud in terms of the way that she dresses. You know, she has her pink hair, she wears all these crazy outfits, and so many people come up to her and want to have these conversations. And so she ends up making incredible friends, connections, business opportunities, all the things. So that's kind of our philosophy when we go to an event. And I did that in Denver, and I did have so many conversations at that event because everyone was like, I love this outfit. And so when Arabella and I were deciding what we were going to wear to this event, we're like, let's wear statement boots. So I wore these really high, like stiletto red leather boots. And Arabella wore these incredible, like rhinestoned, like sparkly, bedazzled boots that were just stunning. And then we also saw one of my longtime mentors there, Mel Wells, and she was also wearing an incredible pair of statement boots. I posted some photos on my Instagram if you guys want to see. But her boots were also this like denim with like stones and like jewels all over them. So we were in the sexy boots crew. But I think that's a hack in general when you go to networking events or somewhere where you want to be able to start conversations and open the door to opportunities or relationships. Wear something that's going to make people want to start a conversation with you, because then you don't really even have to go up to as many people. People come up to you. So that is a hack. But yeah, we ran into Mel, which was also so nice. She was speaking at the event, and she actually told me that she bought the Art of Black Friday sales training that I just put out, and that it really helped her get ahead of the game and get organized, because she's normally so last minute with that stuff. And she was like, this was so thorough. It helped me come up with so many new ideas for the holiday deals this year. So that was also another like full circle fun moment. Like, oh my gosh, I love that. So if you guys want to do Black Friday and you want to do it right, get the Art of Black Friday sales training. You won't regret it. It is an incredible training. It's so strategic. You're going to have so many new ideas and ways to operate your deals that you have not done before. And it's just going to make it a lot more effective for you than, you know, just discounting your stuff and posting on social. So we go into way more detail than that. So make sure that you snag that training while it's still available and while we are still promoting it, because pretty soon we're going to turn the page. We're going to move on to some other exciting things. What else happened at the event? Oh, I also saw my top tier client, Sarah. You guys might know her as Hot High Priestess. She's been on the podcast before, but that was so much fun. I also had no idea that she was going. And then the day before I saw that she was in Miami. And so I messaged her and we were like, oh my God, we're going to be at the same event. Lol, that's funny. So we got to hang out in person again. And me and the Miami girls tried to convince her to move here. So we'll see if she takes the bait and decides to move from LA out to Miami, because that would be really fun. It's just always nice to have more female entrepreneurs and kind of really build a community out this way of people that are on the same wavelength and are running similar businesses and match your vibe. I met some other really amazing female entrepreneurs at the event who are also local to South Florida. So yeah, it was exciting, and just kind of, it was nice to have an event that was near me, because then when you meet local people that are there, it's just kind of like, okay, these could be like friendships, they could be business connections, like whatever that's going to be. It feels like there's opportunity there. But yeah, the event overall was a lot of fun. The food was great. The location was epic. We just overall had a really great time. And I think one of my biggest aha moments from the event came through Dr. Morgan Anderson, who was one of the speakers, and I'd love to get her on the podcast. We talked about potentially doing a swap at some point, so we'll have to get her on the show. But she spoke about attachment styles, because that's really her zone of genius in the work that she does, mainly when it comes to relationships. But because she was at this business event, she kind of adapted it and talked about attachment styles as it relates to business. And so if you're not familiar, attachment theory is from John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth, I believe. Those are the two kind of psychologists, I think, that initially established the attachment theory. But you also may have read something like more recent that is also quite popular in the space, is the book called Attached. And that book really details the different attachment styles and how they present and how to heal them. So that's a book that I read years ago in Madrid. I think I ended up leaving it there because I had to leave so many books behind when we moved, which was really sad because I love having my collection of favorite personal development books. But that's a really good one if you're wanting to look into attachment theory. But it makes so much sense, right? That our attachment styles that we form with our caregivers or parents when we're young, and that kind of really dictate how we show up in romantic relationships, also are going to affect other things in our life and other relationships, like our relationship with friends or our relationship to money. And of course, our relationship to our business, right? And this is why, like I always say, you guys will know this, self-trust is my main business strategy, because truly being securely attached in your relationships with money, with business, all of the things is the biggest success hack. 100%. Like it will change the game for you. And I also think that's why nervous system regulation has become so popular for entrepreneurs lately, because of this idea of like when you are regulated, when you are secure, when you're not reactive, when you're not anxious, when you're not avoidant, when you can really be neutral and regulated, your ability to actually lead and make effective decisions and also take risks and do all the things that are required to achieve higher levels of success become so much easier. So for anyone who's not totally familiar with the attachment styles, there are 4 of them. So, I mean, the 3 main ones are just like anxious, avoidant, and then secure. But then you also have that 4th one that some people call disorganized, which is kind of like a mix of the anxious and the avoidant. But yeah, anxious attachment is when you have difficulty regulating your emotions, when you need frequent reassurance, when you are hyper vigilant about any changes that might be happening. Anxious people often catastrophize the worst case scenario. They compare themselves to others frequently. They are externally focused, so they can sometimes be disconnected from self because they're focusing on the things outside of themselves. They can tend to devalue themselves or overvalue others, like seeing other people as more of an expert, or they know what they're talking about, or if they tell me that I'm overreacting, I believe them because I overvalue their opinion versus my own. They have a fear of abandonment. They fall into procrastination and perfectionism, and they can have a lack of self-trust and codependence. So that is like the anxious attachment style. And those things will all show up in your romantic relationships, in your relationship with money, in your relationship with your business, like in all of the places. So if you relate, then you kind of know where you're leaning and where the work is to be done on that front. The other side of that is the avoidant attachment, which is when you can be kind of disconnected from your emotions. I think a lot of times people think of men as mainly being avoidant, but there are also so many men that are anxious, and there's also a lot of women that are avoidant. But if you think about that classic kind of like archetype of like dating, where it's like the woman is like, I want to get married, I want to be close to you, like why didn't you text back? And the guy is like really avoidant, not connected with his emotions, like not communicative about how he's feeling, and probably like ends up ghosting her or something like that. I think that's kind of like the classic image that we have in our minds of the avoidant, but they really struggle to ask for support, and they can be unconsciously distancing themselves from intimacy. They're not doing it on purpose, but it's more like a subconscious thing. They distance themselves from the intimacy because intimacy doesn't really fully feel safe for them. They put up walls, they pull away, they can overwork to avoid their emotions. They can feel like the martyr at times. They use hyper independence as a way of coping. So they become really independent, and that's their way of not needing to rely on anyone else or not needing support from anyone else, even though they really do. And they have a fear of rejection, a fear of being seen, and they can be disconnected from themselves and also have a lack of self-trust. And then you have the disorganized, which again is kind of like that combo of the anxious and the avoidant. And so the disorganized attachment is characterized by struggling to really form a cohesive identity and frequently being emotionally dysregulated, being an impulsive decision maker, having inconsistencies inadequacies with your boundaries, having a simultaneous fear of abandonment and also the fear of intimacy. So again, it's like the both anxious and avoidant happening at the same time. It's like this cat dog experience. You never know what you're going to get. They can exhibit passive aggressive communication. And for the disorganized attachment style, chaos is what kind of becomes their emotional home. So all of us have a sort of like baseline emotion, something that we are used to, what we always return back to. You think of it like a thermostat. We can get addicted to emotions or create comfort zones within certain emotions. So some people's emotional home is anger. Some people's emotional home is drama. Some people's emotional home is chaos. So if you've grown up in that kind of chaos, you almost feel weird or uneasy when things are calm and when things are going well. And so when things are going well, you can then start to catastrophize in your mind of like how this is not okay and something bad is definitely about to happen. And then you either become anxious or you become avoidant to kind of cope with that feeling of like, it doesn't get to be this good. Like this isn't normal. Like the chaos is your normal. And so that's always then what you end up reverting back to once you catastrophize everything. And then you start acting anxiously or avoidantly. And then you're showing up weird. And then people respond weird to you. And then now the situation is weird, but it almost like was created because you were having that emotional experience. So obviously we want to be secure. That's the goal. We want to be securely attached because the secure attachment is when we are well regulated in our nervous system and we can be calm. We can be connected to ourselves and to our inner knowing. We can make decisions with ease and confidence. We can communicate openly and honestly and clearly. We can have interdependence. So where we can be independent and depend on ourselves, but we can also healthily depend on other people and trust other people to support us. And when you're secure, you are good at self-soothing. So you can calm yourself down. You can regulate yourself, you know how to ask for help, and intimacy feels safe. So of course, that is the ideal place that we want to be. And this was like such a light bulb moment for me when we talked about this at the event, because I realized, oh my gosh, like this is one of my superpowers in business. And this is what I ultimately am trying to help so many of my clients with, is to become a more securely attached CEO. Because when you are secure, everything else in your business works better. You don't have these weird impulsive behaviors where you invest in something totally random that you didn't need and then you regret it, and you're not making these decisions from emotion or finding it hard to show up for your business or completely procrastinating the things that are needle moving. Like those things don't happen as often when you are securely attached. And it's just such a hack for life, for relationships, for money, but of course also for entrepreneurship. So I loved her talk and that conversation and just kind of the light bulb moment of connecting the dots between the attachment theory as it relates to relationships and how it also relates to our relationship with our business. And at one point she asked us to describe and kind of write down in 3 adjectives what your secure CEO identity is. Like how would you describe what it feels like to be embodied in your securely attached CEO identity? And I wrote down centered, relaxed, and empowered, because I really believe that's what it feels like to me when I know I'm in my secure CEO identity. I am centered, I am relaxed, I am not frantic, and I am empowered. I'm not thinking that other people are better than me. I'm not comparing myself to other people. I'm not outsourcing my power to a mentor. Like I am empowered. And I see it so clearly now that this is the thing that has thrown off so many people, like so many people that I know, friends, clients, so many people in my life, and they see it too, you know, of how their attachment styles have been influencing the way that they show up or don't show up in their business. And so yeah, this conversation just inspired me to bring it to the podcast because I think it is such a valuable connection that we can make. And if you're someone who's been working on your attachment style in your life already, then just know that that's going to have a ripple effect on so many other things in your life, like your relationship with money, your relationship with business, your relationship with friends, like all of the things. And if you haven't examined your attachment style, maybe this is the conversation that makes you go, oh, I might want to look at that. I might want to figure out what's happening there, right? Because when you're secure, you are able to truly stay in your lane and not get distracted by what everyone else is doing. You are able to choose mentors that feel fully aligned for you rather than picking who's the most popular or the most viral at the moment, even if their marketing makes you feel off in your body, but you're like, but they're so popular and they're making so much money, so I'm going to join their thing. You don't do that when you're secure. When you're secure, you can handle negative comments or challenges with customer service issues. You can handle those things with grace grace and not let it derail your whole mood or your whole day or, make it mean something about yourself. When you're secure, you are not changing your mind or your bio or your niche every 5 seconds. Even if those things aren't perfect yet, you don't feel that impulsive need to continue to edit and change and pivot and reiterate all the time because you're grounded in who you are and you don't get lost in the noise of these details or shiny objects. And I'm a manifesting generator in human design, so I get it, right? That is the ultimate archetype for being multi-passionate, getting bored easily, only wanting to do things that feel exciting. That's my middle name. So I get it. I do. But I have found ways to be extremely consistent in my business regardless. And I can still innovate and change things and spice things up when I need to in other ways. So I also want to share that I think it is possible. It's possible because I know there's a lot of people that use that kind of as an excuse too of oh, well, I'm a manifesting generator, so that's why I'm all over the place all the time. No, babe, you don't have to. And it doesn't mean that you have to get stuck into a box or a way of doing things that doesn't feel good for you. I truly believe that you can be wildly consistent and still find ways to innovate and spice things up so that you're not bored in your business and so that your products, your programs, your brand is still a reflection of your constant evolution. And this is why what I teach mainly when it comes down to it is building a personal brand, right? Because building a business is not the same as building a personal brand. And if you want to post on social media within a very narrow niche and you want to do a lot of education content and you want to be very specific and post all the same types of stuff so that people really know what you're about, you can grow your account, you can grow your following very quickly. If you want to grow a personal brand, it's probably going to take you longer to grow the followers, but you are going to have way more flexibility down the line to be able to pivot and evolve your brand and the things that you sell as a reflection of your personal evolution because people joined the bandwagon. People jumped on and decided to hang out with you, buy from you, follow you because of you, not because of something that you could just give them or a piece of information that they really loved. And now that you're no longer providing that type of information, they're like, oh, I'm done with you. I don't need your account anymore. That's the difference, right? There is such a big difference between growing a following and actually growing a personal brand. And that's why I'm such a fan of the personal branding side of things, because if you are a multi-passionate woman, which I believe that we all are, I've never met one who's not, right? So when people are like, oh, are you multi-passionate? I'm like, fucking duh. We all like multiple things. Hello. So if you are a multi-passionate woman, I just think that that is the way to really be able to have the most amount of flexibility, I guess I would say. It's not the best way or the only way to grow a business, but I would say it gives you the most freedom and flexibility to be able to move and grow and change and bring your audience along with you in that evolution. And when you are secure, you are able to make choices based on your values, your priorities, and the season of life that you are currently in, and actually stick to those choices and not stray from that just because, you see a shiny object or someone else doing something where you're like, oh my gosh, oh, I should be doing that thing, right? You see someone else building a funnel and suddenly, even though you had committed to, I really want to nurture this one program and really sell it out and build it to its max capacity and make it an incredible product. And that's where my focus is going to go. And then suddenly you see someone building a funnel and selling passive courses and they're making a lot of money and you're like, oh my God, I should do that. I'm going to go over there and do that. And then you flip so quickly. That doesn't happen when you are securely attached. When you are secure, you feel comfortable asking for support from team, from mentors, but you also don't rely on external validation to get you through, right? You don't need the pep talk, but it's nice to have. You can make effective decisions on your own and you trust yourself to do so, but you can also compromise and know how to make decisions in a group. And also you know how to depend on others like your team or your mentors in a healthy way for support rather than kind of like a needy one. So anyway, I just found that wildly valuable and fascinating and wanted to share it with you guys. Hashtag secure CEO. That is the goal for all of us. It is such a success hack. Okay, so I want to tell you about this tarot reading that I got at the event. So after the main event was done, there was a little like networking party with like like hors d'oeuvres and cocktails and stuff after the Saturday event. And they had tarot readers there. So I sat down and I got this tarot reading. And now listen, I haven't had many tarot readings in my life, but I need my spiritual girlies, I need my tarot girlies to tell me if this was the biggest bullshit reading you've ever heard, or if you think that it's possible that it could be legit. Because again, because we have the secure energy, we don't go in assuming that what someone tells us is the exact factual truth, that it's our, 100% future. Like, you go in being secure in yourself, knowing that you have the control to be the creator of your reality, that no one can tell you anything good or bad, that you will then have no control of the outcome over. I think you just go into these things with an open mind. And certainly I'm not going in as a complete skeptic and believing that they're completely lying to me, but I'm also just kind of like sitting in the middle, of like, I want to receive this reading. Hopefully they're in integrity with the work that they do, but I don't know this individual that's giving me this reading. So I'm going to keep that in mind, and I'm going to be open to what they have to say, but I'm also not going to take it as Bible if it doesn't feel aligned or it doesn't feel supportive. So anyway, tarot girlies, hit me up. Let me know if you think this reading was legit or if it was complete malarkey. But it was nice. It was a very nice reading. It was all very positive, but some things that she told me were that my current partner is my soulmate. So that was kind of nice to hear. That felt warm and cozy. She told me that she pulled a certain card. I think it was like suffering in silence, but it was like upside down or whatever. She was like, oh, this means that you're destined to live a long, healthy life. And then from other things, she was like, oh, okay, and your children are going to be healthy too, so you never have to worry about that. And I just was like, okay, I will take that placebo. Give me that placebo pill. Even if that's completely fake, I'm going to choose to implant that belief deep in my subconscious. I'm going to eat up that placebo effect all day long. Nom, 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 nom. Give it to me. Give it to me. Give more of it to me, right? I'm with my soulmate. I'm going to live a long, healthy life. My children are going to be healthy. Like, okay, cool. I'll choose to believe that. I'll buy in. Yeah, I'll bite. Let's go. It actually feels illegal to have the amount of information that I have now about my unborn children, but I will share it with you guys. This is what she told me. She said that she sees 3 children in my future, which was shocking to me because Jaime and I have always both said 2. So maybe one of those will be what Jaime calls a penalty, which is, you get it. You get what that means. So 3 children. Okay, cool. She also said the first one would be a girl, which again, shocking. I've always thought that my first child would be a boy. I don't know why. It was just kind of like an intuitive feeling. So again, I'm not taking that as gospel, but also open to seeing what happens. And if she's right, then she's right, And so the first one would be a girl. And then she said about 2 years later, you'll have your second child, which will be a boy. And then the last child will come a little bit later. There'll be a little bit more of a separation in age, and it'll be about a 4-year gap. And then you'll have your third child, which will be another boy. So 1 girl and 2 boys. And then she said that the girl is going to be a business owner, an entrepreneur of some kind. One of the boys is going to do something more like his dad and do something kind of more related to like finance, numbers, real estate. And then the other boy is going to have a much more like traditionally successful kind of like career path, whether it be like a doctor or a lawyer or like something of that vein. So I said, slay little kiddos. My babies are doing really great. They have great futures ahead of them. All good news. We're so proud of them. I'm so proud of you kids. If their spirits are around me or near me, I'm really excited to meet you because you guys sound like ballers. You guys sound pretty cool. So I love that for us. I did ask some follow-up questions to this because I was so intrigued by all this information about my unborn children. I asked, do you by chance happen to have some sort of timeline on this? I obviously didn't ask it like that, but she was like, I'm not seeing it like immediately, but it's also not that far away. I'm sensing probably around like 2026 is the timeline for, your first pregnancy. And I was like, okay, well, we better get prepared. We shall get our shit together then, because that is, I guess it depends on when it happens in 2026, but at this point we're almost in 2025. So yeah, it could be a year, could be 2 years. We'll find out together, you and I. I told Jaime all this information and he was like, he just wanted to make sure that he was going to have a boy. That's his biggest concern. I'm like, don't wish too hard for it because then God will teach you a lesson. He'll give you all girls. So who knows? Tarot girlies, let me know if you think it was bullshit or if you think it could potentially be a real reading. we'll find out. I guess time will tell. Lastly, some things that are coming up that I want to share with you guys that are exciting. We have the top tier immersion that's happening in a few weeks. So the women that are currently in top tier mastermind, they're going to be coming to my house, coming to Fort Lauderdale. We're going to stay at a really nice hotel on the beach. We get to do our in-person masterminding, go out to fun lunches and dinners on the water, walks on the beach. We're going to do yoga on the beach. It's just going to be so much fun to actually be in person. As you can tell, I've been vibing the in-person stuff lately. Like, I'm really a big fan of this. So I'm super excited for the immersion. Stay tuned on socials if you want to see what we get up to. I'm sure I'll post some stories and some content of what ends up happening at the immersion, but I'm very, very excited. We have a pretty big group this time around. Almost everyone was able to make the dates and come. So we are all so looking forward to seeing each other and meeting in person and just having that like deeper conversation and real life connection. So that's very exciting. And then we're going to Spain. So yeah, Jaime and I and Storm, we will all be taking a trip to Spain at the end of the month. And we're actually going to be there for my birthday at the start of December. So I'm going to celebrate my 31st birthday in my favorite city in the whole world, which I can't wait for. I'm so excited to go back to Spain. We haven't been back since last Christmas time. So it's been almost a year and I'm craving it. I'm just really excited to like winter weather, wear some coats, some gloves, some hot chocolate, maybe do a little bit of like, we won't be there exactly at Christmas time, but I'm sure the lights will be up and the markets will be up, and just to kind of do some of that holiday stuff. We're also going to go to a concert. Jaime is taking me to a Kygo concert for my birthday in Madrid, which I'm very excited about. So that's happening. And then we have our Black Friday sale that's going to drop in November. So make sure that you get on the wait list if you want all the details ahead of time, and you'll also get early access to shop the sale before any of the public does, which is really valuable because some of the offers are limited spaces. Literally everything is going to be on sale. Top tier mastermind, abundant and ambitious, all of my money and wealth programs from burnt out to badass, literally everything that I've ever done or created is going to be on major sale. We're talking thousands of dollars in savings and discounts of up to 60% off. So it's going to be wild. Whether you're craving more mindset manifestation and identity upgrade stuff, or you want to get into some of the wealth frequency and abundance stuff, or you are starting your business and you really want to get it off the ground and work up to those 5K months, or maybe you're someone who's scaling your business and you're looking forward to multi 6 figures or even 7 figures, and you really want to step into some higher level mentorship, leader frequency, and do something like top tier with us next year. All of it is going to be available and all of it is going to be on major sales. So there's going to be something for literally everyone, and they're going to be the best prices of the entire year. So it's the best time to get in my world if you've been wanting to. I'm so excited for our Black Friday blowout. I will leave the link in the show notes for you guys so that you can jump on the wait list and get early access. But you can also always DM me the word deals on Instagram, and then you'll automatically get sent the link so that you can add yourself to the wait list. This is such an exciting time of year. We have, birthday coming up, holidays coming up, just so many incredible things, travel. So just wanted to share some of the updates with you guys, share some of the excitement, and bring you into the fold of everything that's been happening for me behind the scenes and business, life stuff, all the things. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I love you all, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye.